Must Half-Life always be a first-person shooter? Definitely not, because it works surprisingly well as a real-time strategy game. In a time when publishers and game developers are striking mods down with DMCA claims left, right and center and are destroying vibrant communities, I think we should shine a light on great mods now and again. Here's one you should definitely have a look at, especially if you are a fan of real-time strategy games and Half-Life. These are two things I thought that would never fit together, but here they are. Lambda Wars brings small-scale RTS gameplay to the Half-Life universe, even running it on Valve's original Gold Source engine, so this is quintessentially Half-Life. Based upon the branch used for Alien Swarm, Valve's forgotten top-down shooter, link in the upper right corner, check it out right now. Well, based upon Alien Swarm's source branch, this mod brings base building, controlling massive amounts of troops and even vehicles to the source engine. Impressive if you ask me. This game, which is available on the Steam store, link in the video description, started out in 2007, so it's been in development for over a decade, and the time was worth it because the game's great. Maybe the most unusual thing for a source engine game everyone will notice right away, Lambda Wars relies on a classic RTS HUD. And of course base building, the likes you would find in games like StarCraft or Company of Heroes. Thinking about it, the game is kind of a mix of the two. It does contain the resource gathering and the elaborate base building and research trees, just like StarCraft, but then again, not as developed as StarCraft or the original Dawn of War. The game pits the rebels from Half-Life 2 against the Combine in various scenarios. A classic fight for control points, known from the likes of Dawn of War, or destroying the opponent's HQ, just like you do in every other strategy game. The game gives you a very classic RTS feeling. These control points gather resources. They can be reinforced with upgrades, making them of course harder to take over for the enemy, and then of course gather more resources. Other resources can be mined. These piles of scrap metal here function just like the crystals in StarCraft. While the rebels have to actually mine them with manpower and then deliver the material to a scrapyard or the main HQ, the Combine simply place extractors upon them and just mine them automatically. The two factions differ in playstyle and unit structure, even base building. Whereas the rebels utilize down-to-earth technologies, and whatever they can get their hands on, the Combine on the other hand rely on their high-tech technology. While rebels need to build huts to increase their unit cap, the Combine simply increase the unit caps with a click on a button. But they have to build batteries to store the energy they mined, and in addition to that they can only erect buildings within a radius around these energy projectors. Very similar to how the Protoss function in StarCraft. The buildings are very in style, especially the Combine look, very Combine. Even the way they explode is great. The game includes a cover system, not as natural as Company of Heroes cover system, but it is there. Be sure to use the cover as it really helps in defense, and if you don't have any cover, you can build some yourself. You can set up barricades with machine guns, bunkers, mortars, auto turrets, Combine force shields and even the dreaded headcrab launcher. But be careful, some of these defenses are double-edged swords. Headcrabs can attack everyone. Throwing those explosive barrels into your own base? Well, you can take out your own buildings with that. You can even use that to your own advantage. Just send in some expendable troops, and rely on the friendly fire. Nice tactic. Talking about expendable troops, be careful, explosive weapons are dangerous and things like a mortar will make short work of your infantry. Use the terrain to your advantage. Place snipers carefully. Maybe set up a shield wall. Or crush the enemy with sheer force of numbers. You even have different ways of deploying your troops at your disposal. Airlifting in your infantry is always a sure way of arriving in style. Feel free to hum the Ride of the Valkyrie. Lambda Wars introduces a few new classes to the Rebels and Combine, types of troops we didn't really see in the video games, like the Flamethrower Trooper or the Heavy Machine Gunner. Beta content has also been reintroduced, something that fans of Half-Life always like. But of course, familiar faces like the Combine Elite, Dog or Striders do make a return, and Striders and Hunters, formidable foes. Even those annoying roller mines do make an appearance, and they can really be a nuisance for the enemy, and for yourself as well. Most of the game is very self-explanatory, especially for an RTS fan. And even for those who have no experience with this, just fire up these single-player missions and get eased into the experience. Because, yes, you have 4 single-player missions at your disposal. They are not really comparable to the big-budget productions, but it's a nice addition. The skirmish mode is always a good pick, and if you feel adventurous, online multiplayer is a thing. Sadly, the numbers of players are low, but since the game is free, convincing a friend to play shouldn't be too hard. And once you are done bashing each other's heads in, why not try to make a glorious last stand in the endless wave mode? You will be facing off against ever-increasingly harder waves of rebels, combines, zombies, and lions, or everything combined. And depending on the difficulty, this can be a real challenge. On more than one occasion, we got totally overrun. Since we will probably never see the rumored Half-Life tactics that was in development for the Nintendo Switch, Lambda Wars is probably the next best thing we'll ever see. And for what it is amazing. There's not much I'm missing. Maybe an additional faction here and there, maybe the Marines from Half-Life 1 and Black Mesa staff, that could be a cool add-on. But other than that, a great free game. Maybe a few more characteristic and iconic unit sentences, you know, the stuff they say when you click them. Yeah, they sound rather generic. The Combine do sound cool, but the Rebels could say something cooler, something more memorable.
Copy.
There are some unit quotes from strategy games out there that just stick in your head for ages. The Dreadnought from Dawn of War, this "Even in death I still serve." Or what else? We got the Imperial Guard. "For every one of us who falls, 10 more will take his place." What else we got? Like, you know, the Marines in StarCraft. I only played it in German, so for me it was "Jetzt geht's rund!" or "Worauf soll ich ballern, Sir?" "Wem sollen wir einheizen?" These kind of things. That was always super fun to me, and these units, they just stay in your head. Not an improvement I really need, that's just a very personal wish. What can I say about this? Is it the next best strategy game? Is it the new Company of Heroes killer? No, absolutely not. But it's just very fun to play. And it's good. It's relatively polished. Bugs are few and far between. It crashed only once during all my playtime. It's a great game. Go ahead and download it. It's free. I had a blast playing it. And playing it with a friend? Even better. And if you enjoyed this video only half as much as I enjoyed Lambda Wars, then definitely give the video a thumbs up, consider subscribing for future content, and if you absolutely love what we do, why not consider supporting us on Patreon, as our supporters there got to see this video well in advance. To all of our loyal supporters, a big thank you. These wonderful people are Lone Wolf, Zat Gladys, Wrapped in Glass, Cookie, Uncle DG, Harrison Steffens, Plasma, Tome, Rainbow Flash, Grizzlywer, Strange Module, Taintzer, Cop Fighter, Inter, Charles Surratt and Sir K. To them and everyone else, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.